We live in a culture that often equates walking away without a fight with weakness. We're taught to persevere, to push through, to never say die. But what about letting go to fight another day? What about the courage it takes to choose yourself, to choose your well-being, even when it's hard? Walking away isn't always the easy choice, but it is often the bravest. It's a decision rooted in self-awareness, in understanding that sometimes stepping back is necessary for self-preservation and growth. It takes incredible strength to walk away from something familiar, even when it no longer serves you. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore situations where walking away might just be the best choice for you. Remember, your well-being matters, your peace matters, your growth matters, and sometimes walking away is the most courageous step you can take towards all three. Number 1. Let go when you are no longer being treated with respect, dignity, consideration, and kindness. When you're in a situation where you're constantly being disrespected, it takes a toll. It attacks your self-esteem, leaving you feeling small, insignificant, and unworthy. We've all been there. That relationship, that job, that friendship where you feel unseen, unheard, and undervalued. You might start questioning yourself, wondering if you're being too sensitive or demanding, but here's the truth. You deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, consideration, and kindness. Period. Walking away from a situation where you're not respected isn't weakness, but it's an act of self-preservation. It's about recognizing your worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it. Think about it. What message are you sending when you stay in a situation where you're constantly being disrespected? Walking away from disrespect might feel scary at first, but it's a powerful act of self-love. It's saying, I value myself enough to walk away from anything that doesn't honor my worth. Number 2. Let go when you are no longer appreciated and presence no longer valued. So often, we find ourselves taken for granted. Our efforts go unnoticed, our kindness met with indifference. Being taken for granted is a slow burn. It can erode your sense of self-worth. You start to question your value, wondering if you're enough. But you are not responsible for others' inability to appreciate you. Walking away is reclaiming your power. It's about saying, I deserve to be with people who value me. It's about creating space for healthy relationships and mutual appreciation. Number 3. Let go when your mental, emotional, and physical well-being suffer. There is a spiritual connection between your mental, emotional, and physical condition. When one suffers, the others follow suit. And sometimes the most loving act we can do for ourselves is to walk away from situations that are toxic to our health. This could be a relationship, a job, a living environment, or even a mindset. Think about the people you spend your time with, the environments you find yourself, and the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. Are they life-giving or life-draining? Do they fill your cup or leave you feeling depleted? Staying in a situation that's detrimental to your health, whether it's causing you chronic stress, anxiety, depression, or physical ailments, is not brave. It's self-sabotage. Walking away from a toxic situation like this is not weakness but a powerful act of self-care. It's about prioritizing your well-being, setting boundaries, and choosing to create a life that supports your mental, emotional, and physical health. Your health is worth fighting for. Number 4. Let go when you are not living in alignment with your values, beliefs, and deepest truths. We have to live as our authentic selves even when it's difficult, even when it's unpopular. But what happens when we find ourselves in situations that compromise our integrity? It creates a dissonance between who we are within and how we're to the world. We might try to rationalize it, to justify it, but deep down we know when we're out of alignment. Staying in a situation that forces you to compromise your integrity is like slowly killing your soul. It erodes your sense of self, your confidence, your peace of mind. Walking away from a situation that compromises your integrity is a courageous act of self-respect. It's about saying, I value my integrity more than I value staying in this situation. It's about choosing to live a life that aligns with your values, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable. Remember, you don't have to betray yourself to be accepted by others. Your integrity is your superpower. Number 5. Let go when you are stagnated, unchallenged, and unexcited. We are wired for growth, we crave it, we seek it, and we thrive on it. But sometimes we find ourselves stuck in a rut, where we're no longer being challenged. Walking away is sometimes the only way to jumpstart our growth. Think about a time when you felt truly alive, learning something new, pushing beyond your boundaries. Remember that feeling of excitement and possibility? Stagnation is the opposite of that. Growth rarely happens in our comfort zones. It requires us to embrace discomfort, challenge our beliefs, and take risks. Walking away from stagnation isn't giving up, it's choosing to grow. Number 6. Let go when you feel guilty dispensing your responsibility, that feeling of being pulled in different directions, of wanting to please everyone. The feeling like we're letting people down if we don't say yes to every request, every demand, and to every expectation. At what point does living a life based on guilt and obligation eclipse our own happiness, our own well-being? It's a slippery slope, this guilt and obligation cycle. It starts subtly, with a desire to be helpful, to be there for others, to be the good person. But it can quickly spiral into a pattern of people-pleasing, where we're constantly putting everyone else's needs before our own. The problem is, you can't pour from an empty cup. Walking away from situations that are fueled by guilt and obligation is a way of reclaiming your power, of setting healthy boundaries, of prioritizing your own well-being. It's about recognizing that you deserve to be happy, that your needs matter, that it's okay to say no without feeling guilty. Number 7, let go when your trust is broken. Trust is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built. It's the invisible thread that connects us, that allows us to be vulnerable, to be open, to be our authentic selves. But what happens when that trust is broken? What happens when that foundation is shattered by deceit, by betrayal, by a violation of our core values? The pain of broken trust can be excruciating. It can leave us feeling lost, confused, and deeply wounded. Rebuilding trust after it's been broken is a delicate and often arduous process. It requires honesty, vulnerability, accountability, and a willingness to do the work on both sides. But sometimes, despite our best efforts, trust cannot be rebuilt. And in those moments, walking away might be the healthiest choice we can make for ourselves. Walking away from a situation where trust has been irrevocably broken doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to prioritize your own emotional well-being. Remember, you deserve to be in relationships where trust is a given, not a constant battle. Number 8. Let go when you have lost your identity and no longer accept it. We all crave that feeling of being accepted for who we are, of finding our tribe. But what happens when our desire to fit in, to be loved, to be accepted, leads us to compromise our values, our beliefs, our very sense of self? It happens gradually, almost imperceptibly, until one day we look in the mirror and wonder who we have turned to. This loss of self can happen in any relationship. Romantic relationships, friendships, family dynamics, even in the workplace. It happens when we silence our voices, when we suppress our needs, when we mold ourselves into who we think others want us to be. Walking away from a situation where you've lost yourself is a powerful act of self-discovery. It's about reclaiming your identity, rediscovering your passions, and reconnecting with your authentic self. It might feel scary at first, but trust me, it's on the other side of our comfort zones that we often find our most authentic selves. Number 9. Let go when you have done your best and there is no change. We all crave growth, progress, evolution. We want to believe that things can get better, that people can change, that situations can transform. But what happens when we've poured our hearts and souls into something, when we've given it our all and yet there's no positive change? It's heartbreaking to invest so much of ourselves into something only to realize that it's not yielding the results we hoped for. Staying in a situation where there's no positive change, where our efforts are met with resistance, where we're constantly hitting a wall, is not perseverance, it's self-sabotage. Walking away from a situation where there's no positive change is not about giving up. It's about giving ourselves permission to move on. It's about recognizing that sometimes the bravest and kindest thing we can do for ourselves is to stop investing our energy into something that's no longer serving us. It's about having the courage to create space for something new to emerge. Walking away is never easy. It takes courage, strength, and a deep sense of self-awareness. But as we've explored today, it's often the most loving and courageous act we can do for ourselves. It's about choosing our well-being, our growth, and our happiness above all else. If any of these resonated with you, if you found yourself nodding along, know that you're not alone. Share this video with someone who might need to hear this message today. Let's create a conversation around the power of walking away, of choosing ourselves, of honoring our worth. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos about self-discovery, personal growth, and living a more authentic life.